So the inspiration for this piece is Osamu TeZukA, who's a manga drawer, anime artist, visionary. He's a bit the godfather of all the mangas being those Japanese cartoons. What is so special about him is that he's someone who created 1 million characters that all were parts, I think, of his own personality. It was someone who had a lot of empathy, who could put himself in many people's bodies in a way. He could relate to a lot of people, and he wrote about characters that were so diverse and so human in the way they behaved, in the way they thought about things, and the conflicts or the situations these characters were in were always something you could relate to. I mean, there was always a part as a reader where you could feel, I understand, I even understand the bad guy, I kind of get it, I understand why he does that. And I think that's the magic of TeZukA. Some people comparing with Walt Disney, but I think his world is much, much more complex and rich because he dares to talk about anything which is taboo usually, very, very harsh themes or very complex ones. What is wonderful with him is that he manages to portray it in an almost all ages way. I think his work is, in that sense, universal. One of his first characters was a character that most people know, which is Astro Boy. And with Astro Boy, what is so peculiar is that actually he works on nuclear energy. That's the character Blackjack. What's great with Blackjack is that it's as much sometimes extremely funny as it can be very morbid or quite scary. He also did one that I like very much, which might be one of my favorite, on the life of Buddha. It's extremely moving and also funny and dramatic. I mean, it's quite a fascinating combination of emotions you go through when you read it. As comic books are made, every week you would need to get a page out or something, and then eventually it becomes a full story. And it's not really unlike how I make work in a studio, where every day I kind of create a page and then eventually I need to make a book out of that. I'm hoping that people who are fans of TeZukA will see enough of the feeling of TeZukA in it. I mean, I'm not going to be extremely literal, not all the characters will be in there. And at the same time, for the people who don't know TeZukA, I hope that after seeing my piece, they want to read his books. So we went to Japan in March when there was the earthquake. We were actually there, which was a very tense time. There was a strange fear, an end of the world fear. We went back to Japan in July to pick up where we left things in March. For me, all of the last couple of months in relationship to the work, what it showed was things get healed and things get better, and then things transform and change, and it's something that is too rarely spoken of. And I think with art, we can always talk about this capacity humans have to regenerate, to pick back up. Something everybody has in them to survive. My piece is not finished, so I can't tell like this is where it's gonna head. But I do know that what I've tried to do is to speak about these constant transformations, the ability to transform and mutate from one thing to another, from one character to another, from one place to another, the capacity we have to adapt. What TeZukA stood for, I think there's a lot of that he stood for that I want to stand for, and I'm doing what I'm doing because he did what he did, and it's a way of honoring that. So what I try to do is, in a way, to share the things that I find fascinating about life and about the body with the audience in an entertaining or a poetic way, so that people can follow the aesthetic, but also that maybe their perception of reality might change and that they might see life differently if they see the piece. I'm hoping, and to read TeZukA.